What's your Rachel Legends? Welcome to the video. Send us some positive vibes, some love your way. I hope you had a great Christmas. I'm not exactly sure when this video is going live, but it's going to be after Christmas. So Merry Christmas again to all of you guys out there. Happy holidays, Happy New Year as well. Today we're going to jump right into it with the top 40 epic champions for 2025. These are champions who've seen a value surge over the last few months heading into the new year. So we're really speculating on, well, how the new content will continue to progress and which champions will map best onto the new and the old content inside the game. Now, quick little disclaimer. There is no, I'm going to order these from 40 all the way to 1. I'm obviously giving preferential treatment to versatile champions that can help you in a bunch of different areas. But there is no best epic champion. Frankly, if you need, you know, a Bommel champion, for example, well, Lady Annabelle's going to be your #1 epic in the entire game, and she's not on the list.
What is this behavior?
So I say that to say that there's a lot of snubs on this list, but I'm generally going for, well, generalists in terms of champions that I'm picking out here. So these are just my top 40. Let me know who I left out that would make your list in the comments below. Let's start with number 40 on the list. It's Rector Droth. Rector Droth is an amazing single target reviver epic champion. She's all about the veils, the perfect veils, but the thing that makes her so great is being an epic champion that has a 2-turn perfect veil and a 4-turn cooldown. I want to say she's the only one in the game. Maybe one other? I can't think of it if there is. So very, very powerful there. She brings a decreased attack. She has a good single target revive with the perfect veil, and she's one of the most capable healers in the game as well. And they kind of fixed the animation so she's not as slow anymore. So really just a league of her own when it comes to perfect veil revivers and healers for epic champions. Number 39, we don't have to go far here, guys. It's going to be Doom Priest. There she is. It's going to be Doom Priest. She still has one of the most unique kits for epic cleansers, where she can cleanse a debuff every single time she takes a turn. She also brings healing to the table and 7.5% of their max HP, and this is all off of her passive. She also brings increased attack, a very basic kit, but increased attack is great to also have. Sometimes it can be difficult to find those increased attack champions, so a very good cleanser, one of the most unique and best cleanser out there. Not the best, but one of the best. Certainly one of the most unique, again, with the passive. Number 38 on the list is going to be none other than Silar. I feel like I haven't given good old Silar enough love over the years. Very just good all-around champion. She can be great in a stun set with an AoE on the A1, A2, and on the A3. She got the decreased speed and the decreased turn meter by 40%. There's a better control ability even than a lot of legendary champions out there. She's just very overall, all-around good for spider progression, for stun sets, endgame, for damage. Really just a versatile control champion in Silar. Also brings the decreased accuracy, which can be hard to find. She brings that on a 3-turn cooldown at 100% on her A2 Toxic Cloud. It almost feels like Toxic Cloud should also bring a poison or something, huh? Anyway, number 37 on the list is going to be one of my personal faves. Might be snubbed having him this low on the list, but it's Scaris. Either way, he had to be on the list somewhere. Man, Scaris is very, very good. A recent-ish addition to the game, probably about a year old now. He has an AoE provoke on a 3-turn cooldown with the counterattack leading into stuns and stealing turn meter, which synergizes very nicely with the provoke. The best part of his kit is the synergy of the kit. It's the provoke with the A1, and the AoE fills his champion's turn meter by 10% for each buff that has his duration decreased on his A2. A very nice ability here that helps you get back to that provoke and usually, you know, lap it out to get more provokes on the opponent's team, on the enemy team, that is. Very, very good champion overall. And Scaris, number 36 on the list, is going to be, oh, he's an oldie but a goodie. It's good old Man-Eater. He's a Man-Eater. No, okay. He's going to decrease attack on all enemies. Big version if the attack is critical on his A1. That's a very often slept on A1. It's a really nice debuff to have on an AoE on an A1. On his A2, he's got basically a full turn meter depletion and then a full turn meter fill, or at least equal to the amount the target loses there. So very, very nice ability. And of course, the unkillable on a 5-turn cooldown for 2 turns. He's an old school Demon Lord, you know, just staple, I would say, in the game. I used to run the double Man-Eater before good old Wixwell came out. Any of you guys still run a Man-Eater team in Clan Boss to this day? Let me know about it if you do. Let me know which version you run. All right, 35 on the list is going to be Duck the Pierced, or Duke the Pierced. I call him Duck. He's a defense-based Stag Knight, kinda, sorta. He has an AoE decrease attack and decrease defense on the same ability on a 3-turn cooldown. Very nice to have the big version of decrease attack and decrease defense on a defensive-based champion. He also brings kind of a niche provoke here on a 4-turn cooldown, can be on 1 enemy or potentially 2 with the reflect damage. So kind of a niche, but sometimes handy A3 ability from a tankier version of a decreased defense, decrease attack AoE champion in Duck the Pierced. Coming in at number 34 on the list is good old Mordecai. Mordecai is a great option for HP burn. He's got the placing the burn on all enemies for 2 turns. He also brings that increased attack for 3 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. That's a really, really nice ability here on the Heavenly Flames. He can set up your attack-based damage dealers and at the same time burn everybody on the enemy team. He's got the turn meter decrease and the turn meter fill on the A3, another very nice ability. Overall, his kit really makes him one of the most competent burners out there for epics in the game. Coming in at number 33 is gonna be another kind of old school champion on the list. We're going right back to Knights Revenant. A lot of really good Knights Revenant champions here is Skullcrown. Skullcrown can still be your arena nuker or your blender nuker on your arena team because she has the AoE on the A1, potentially an extra hit ability on this ability on the A1, and then on the A2 she's got the big version of Weaken landing at a 75% clip on a 3-turn cooldown. That in its own right is very good. You can pair her with Sinesha anywhere in the game, and she gets even better with the revive. She also has the unkillable to keep her alive, which is great. It's just really a beautifully synergistic kit from an old school damage dealer. She can deal damage. She can put her again in a stun set. She's versatile as well. So I really love Skullcrown even to this day. Coming in at number 32 is going to be, again, this goes back to the point I was making at the beginning of the video where if you need him in a certain area, he's going to be your GOAT. He's going to be your MVP, and that's Hydra Clan Boss. Speaking about Inquisitor Shamil, he can bring the full ignore defense on this triple hitter on the A2. He can be a great damage dealer. I've seen him built in toxic sets as well for a little bit extra damage. Merciless sets, even though he ignore defense on the A2, you can get some more utility out of that A1 as well. But cleansing the true fears from the Head of Torment in Hydra Clan Boss is what makes him so effective inside Hydra Clan Boss. Just one of the most effective and efficient ways to deal with true fear, ergo help the rest of your team do what they do best more, efficiently. Again, not losing all those turns and putting those skills on cooldown, having Inquisitor to do damage and protect the rest of your team from that pesky Head of Torment. He's Void Affinity, so you can rock him any rotation as well. It's Inquisitor Shamil. Coming in at number 31, guys, is a champion that I have never included on my top epic champion list, and this is just the fault of my own. So I'm lucky enough to have played almost every champion in the game, but there was one going into the year that I was just neglecting, and I don't know why. I knew about this dude for a long time, but it's actually Taurus.
I am sorry that I neglected you, and I didn't realize you were that upset.
And I feel like he belongs because he's so incredibly unique. He's the best AoE poisoner out of every epic, and it's not even close. So I wanted to give him a big call out on this list, so I'm including him at number 31. My man here has 4 poisons on all enemies on a 4-turn cooldown. What a great ability. He's sacrificing 99% of his current HP to do so, but he's bringing it unkillable for 2 turns. That gives you plenty of ample time to heal him back up. And I just felt like, yeah, sure, maybe a Cult Brawler would be the best kind of old school Demon Lord poisoner out there. There's some others out there as well, and there's one on the list as well, or, you know, higher on the list. But Taurus for an AoE poison combust team, or just to do a lot of damage to any enemy susceptible to poison, specifically in Dragon's Lair, he's the best. You know, he's the best. I use Taurus to speed run in Doom Tower waves. I use him in Cintranos. So I'm using him a lot more, even though there's not a ton of areas, to be fair, where poison is mandatory in the game. But hey, if they come up with more poison areas, expect him to go even higher on the list, because he's the best AoE poison epic, and it's not even close. So Taurus comes in at number 31. What do you guys think about that? All right, number 30, excuse me, on the list is the other burner, who I prefer just a hair over Mordecai, but I'll be honest with you guys, this is a personal choice. I love that Scank is void affinity. It makes his burn a little bit more reliable. Take him in everywhere. It's a 3-turn cooldown on the burn as well of turn meter fill, so you can get back to the burn a lot faster than you can with Mordecai. And again, because he's affinity neutral, you can use him just absolutely anywhere in any stage. So I give him the very slight nod, a little bit more raw damage, but he doesn't bring the turn meter manipulation or the increased attack. So again, it depends on what you guys are looking for out of a burner. I like Scank a little bit more, and I just told you why, right? Damage, you can get back to that burn very quickly because of the turn meter fill that he has built into his kit. I really like that he has an increased attack on himself as well, with damage escalation on the Pyromania on his passive. All right, number 29 on the list is going to go to my favorite HP-based nuker. By the way, my personal favorite attack-based nuker did not make the list because there's so many to choose from, but I actually panned the Bowhorn. Have any of you guys messed around with this dude? He's even, I think he hits even harder than like Dirindil, than a Nagorio, some of the other like raw attack-based damage dealers out there. Just a shout out. There's going to be probably a few shout outs along the video here, but Demon Spawn at number 29 is Magnar. How could I not have Magnar on the list? This guy is a tank, and he can nuke with the best of them. From an HP-based nuker as well, really hard to find. I mean, there's no one even close to Magnar in terms of epics when it comes to HP-based damage dealers. You'd have to go all the way to Void Legendary, maybe an Eric's for a Magic Legendary, but then to Narcissus and a Taurus when we talk about the best of the best HP damage dealers that are above a Magnar. Suffice it to say, he's a great damage dealer on this percussive pound ability. He also has a pretty cool debuff spread and a hard-hitting fan the flames on his A3. He's tanky, and he can deal a bleep load of damage. Coming in at number 28 on the list is going to be the lady in red. I think she's super underrated, and I'm proving it here with her ranking on the list. It's Sanguinia.
She's coming with us! No, she's not. Oh, yes, she is. No.
I really love Sanguinia. I think she's a fantastic champion, especially with the advent of Chimera Clan Boss added to the game. But first off, she has a triple hitter. Great for Fire Knight, obviously. She has a block debuffs and a continuous heal on a 3-turn cooldown. Very, very good ability. Very strong, especially for an epic champion to have both of these on a 3-turn. The block debuffs is only a 1-turn duration, but she's pretty fast. She's nice and tanky, and you can put her in like Reflex Scare if you want to try to get back to that a little bit faster as well. Sacrificial Lamb is great as well. She has the Cleanse, transferring all debuffs from this champion to the target, and then removes all debuffs from all allies. So you're getting a Cleanse on a 4-turn cooldown, you're getting a block debuffs, you're getting heals, and you're getting a triple hitter on the A1 with decreased duration of random buffs, which is really good at a 30% land rate on that A1, considering it happens on each hit. That can be a great sneaky buff remover. So we spent a lot of time talking about Sanguinia, but I think she's super, super underrated. All right. the attack-based damage dealer that we do have on the list, we don't have to go far. One spot down, it's Fenax. Fenax makes the list over my guy Pan the Bowhorn and a few of my other favorite attack-based damage dealers out there. Genbo, for example, not on the list, but great attack-based nuker. But Fenax does make the list. He has 2 big debuffs that are fantastic against every boss in the game, and decreased speed and decreased defense. Again, big version, albeit on a 4-turn cooldown. He has an AoE block buffs, very handy for wave content, anywhere, neutralize those Valkyries, those man-eaters, etc. But the reason he's really on the list is what a great ally attack champion with his 4.1 multiplier A1 ability, one of the hardest hitting out there in the game. Fenax, an epic champion. Spirit Affinity, so great to neutralize a Harima or a Force Affinity champion. There's a lot of them out there, UDKs. He can take them right down and put them down, and literally, and stay down because he denies revive on his A1. Oof, what a threat. It's cool to see Fenax because way back in the day, nobody talked about this dude, but now he's really made a name for himself as one of the most capable attack-based nukers, especially with all the ally attack out there in the game. Coming in at number 26 on the list is going to be, yeah, we're heading back to Knights Revenant yet again. I might be biased, my favorite faction in the game, but good old miscreated monster. That's right. He's still on the list here. A 2019 Halloween champion. He looks incredible. One of my favorite aesthetics in the game. He just does so much. He's super tanky. He has a really good passive where he's putting fear on the attacker. It's not like a 10% chance of placing a fear. It's a 100% chance of placing a fear on the attacker for 1 turn whenever an ally is attacked under ally protection. A lot of people don't realize how great of a control champion he is when you parlay that with the stun on the A1 and the stun on the A2 and a big shield, and it's a 50% stun on a 3-turn cooldown. He also brings the ally protect and a continuous heal on this champion with a 50% heal to keep him alive. He's tanky, he's a great protector, he's a great control, he has an amazing shield and a stun and a decreased defense on the A1 if the stun is placed. Man, just reading his kit over again, even after all these years, I mean, he's got a better shield in most situations than like a Sir Nick, a Void Legendary on his Lightning Storm ability and your stunning. Just a great overall support and carry champion out there in the game. Coming in at number 25 on the list is going to be Mr. Ark Mage Helmet, a free farmable champion from Doom Tower Normal. Ark Mage has a great kit. First of all, he's super fast at 108 base speed. My man can't be turn meter affected. He cannot be reduced. Very, very nice. He brings 3 buffs on a 3-turn cooldown. One of them, an essential buff and increased speed, increased crit rate, increased crit damage, can feed into a seer, but generally a lot of champions benefit from these buffs. Even your support champions, kind of like an Ark Mage Helmet, who can kind of deal a little bit of damage, but not a ton, can still benefit from these buffs. On the A2, he's got a great ability here where he has a attacks all enemies if the first attack is critical. Second hit has a 50, make it 75% chance to stun on a 3-turn cooldown. After attacking, decrease turn meters all enemies without the stun by 20%. So kind of a fail-safe move right there on the A2, or for bosses who are not susceptible to stun, he can still decrease their turn meter. And again, turn meter fill on the A1 by 10%. Just a great all-around, again, support champion and control champion in Ark Mage Helmet. Number 24 on the list is going to be, I mentioned this guy on one of my recent lists, and a lot of people were like, yeah, dude, I never thought of him that way, but you're absolutely right. He's a beast, and it's Hatatsu. This guy is a monster. He's got the defense in all battles aura. He's got the removing a random debuff from this champion at the start of each turn. He'll prioritize the CC debuff, so if he's stunned, he's going to get rid of it. It is on a 3-turn cooldown, but it's really handy to have. Most stuns are on a 3-turn cooldown, so you cleanse it, and then you wait to get stunned again, and you cleanse it again, and the other debuffs as well, for that matter. He brings an increased defense, big version, and a continuous heal, obviously big version on a 3-turn cooldown. And then he brings the AoE, decrease attack on his A2 ability with the leech on the A1. So a lot of healing when you combine the leech and the continuous heal, and a ton of damage mitigation, both in the debuff and decrease attack, and the buff and increased defense. Just a sneaky, very, very robust healer and support champion, again, in Hatatsu. 23 on the list is gonna be Mr. Husk. Husk is a great enemy max HP champion who can also stun and provoke on his A1. His provoke isn't high enough to be, to me at least, your main provoker for the Head of Decay, but a good kind of failsafe backup provoker, or just control champion in general because of the stun and in the provoke on the A1. He doesn't have the hardest enemy max HP hit out there compared to like a Royal Guard. Hits a little bit higher because his multiplier is based on enemy max HP and a little bit of his attack as well, but still a very useful champion because the more content that gets released in this game, Chimera included, it seems like the more need we have for enemy max HP champions, and Husk is certainly one of the OGs in that regard. Number 22 on the list is going to be Madame Sarus. Madame Sarus fell out of the meta a little bit because of Polymorph, but she is back in a big way, especially if you put her in a 6-piece Feral set that you get from Clan Siege. She's removing buffs, and then she's placing a decreased attack and a decreased defense. I mean, this Midnight Ritual ability is so good to this day. You're just setting the table by removing everything, 50-50 at removing Stone Skin as well, and then putting the two most essential debuffs on your enemy team. But she's got a lot more as well. Trick and Treat, she attacks, she steals buffs, plays a block debuffs on allies for 2 turns. If any buff is stolen, that's not a high threshold to reach. And then you have an epic champion who has a 2-turn block debuffs. That's really good. We talked about how valuable a 1-turn is in Sanguinia. A true fear on all enemies who have a buff stolen. This is a nasty ability. On the A1, she's got Fear on the passive. She's got Shield on herself. When attacked while under a shield, she has a chance of placing a Fear on the attacker. Control everywhere in her kit. She's good for PvP, obviously, but she's also very sneaky good for PvE in all that control, all those debuffs, and the buff removal. Man, she's really good. Number 21 on the list, you don't have to go far, it's Dark Kale. Dark Kale is great. He could be one of a top 10 champion if you need a poison or an activator, but again, like we talked about with Taurus, poisons are, you know, somewhat niche in the game. It just depends. It depends. He was a tough champion to rank, as with all these champions, frankly, but my man is, geez, the best single target poisoner and burn, poison, combustor activators out there for all epics. He's got 3 poisons and the poison sensitivity. I would say big version, but there is no big version. No champion in the game has a 50% poison sensitivity debuff, but it is in the game code. It does exist in theory. Anyway, I digress. 3-turn cooldown. He has an AoE decrease attack, also increase the duration of all debuffs, and then the instant activation on a triple hitter on the A1. Man, Dark Kale, you could definitely argue he belongs a little bit higher on the list. Things get tricky here as we go into the top 20. Number 20 is going to be Akemptum, another Void Affinity epic champion. Akemptum is
he's not a rat.
Beast. If you're looking for a hex applier, look no further. He's the best in the game, I would say. A triple hitter, each hit has a chance of increasing duration of hex. On each hit, on a triple hitter, on a 3-turn cooldown, oh my god, he can deal some insane damage as well from a guy who, like, he seems like he's supposed to just be a debuffer, right? Kind of a specialist with a little bit of damage, but his damage can stack up, especially on this passive. 100% chance to inflict poison debuff. 100% chance of inflicting damage from 1 poison debuff to enemies under a hex whenever their allies receive damage from a poison debuff. And then he has another triple hitters. Triple hitters, I absolutely love them. On his A1, placing a poison, very good. Here at number 20. Number 19 on the list is going to be, some people might be shocked by this one, especially considering like a few champions have came to mind and I'm like, ooh, did I snub that champion as I'm looking around here? But this guy I stand by, and it's Runekeeper Dazer, all the way at number 19. Do you guys think I'm absolutely crazy on that? I'll let you sit with that while I take a drink of my beverage. Yeah, I love Runekeeper Dazer. He's got a leech on his A1. Love the leeches on A1. I love leech. Increase attack, Fill the turn meter of all allies by 25%. Ooh, that's a nasty little A2 ability, especially when you consider how nasty his A3 is, right? So setting up attackers, moving the entire team by 25%. He's amazing in Chimera. He's amazing as a cleanser support anywhere in the game. He's Void Affinity. He's cleansing all allies. He's healing all allies by 25% of his max HP. And then a continuous heal for 2 turns on allies that have debuffs removed. This makes him one of the better epic healers in the game, one of the better epic turn meter boosters in the game, and a full cleanser. I mean, that's nasty. He's, I mean, I stand by my selection on Runekeeper Dazer at number 19. Number 18 on the list is going to be none other than Seeker. Talk about turn meter fillers. Seeker's the best in the game. We talked about this before. Why is he the best? Well, I guess I shouldn't say the best in the game anymore, right? Because we have a Senna, we have an Operdin, we have an Androck, we have champions that are all built around this insane turn meter. We have a Nekmothar, but I put Seeker maybe number 5, just depending, right? It depends. He's up there with Mythicals and Void Legendaries, right? Because he has a 30% turn meter fill, he also brings increased attack. But with that extra turn, kind of like a Deacon Armstrong extra turn, a lot of new players don't recognize how powerful that is, how it changes what a champion's able to do. He's able to get back to this ability even faster because he has an extra turn, ergo, bring that cooldown down 1, right? So he's able to bring that 30% turn meter fill really frequently. He also has a cool passive, providing protection and a provoke on his A1. That's Seeker coming in at number 18. I think we have a tie here, ladies and gentlemen, aka I double counted. We have Allure, one of the best control champions out there inside the entire game still. I mean, Allure looks incredible. She is incredible. You can put the Nature's Bounty blessing on her to get this decreased defense to a big version. I think they should go in there and buff her, though. I think they should go in, not that she needs it. She's like incredible. She's number 18 on the list, but I would love to see this be a big version of decreased defense. It is a 4-turn cooldown anyway, you know? I digress. You can upgrade it with the Nature's Bounty blessing, as I mentioned. Triple hitter, decrease the target's turn meter by 25% on each critical hit. Oof, that's incredibly powerful. 75% turn meter reduction on her A1 ability. It puts her in the category of the best turn meter control champions inside the entire game. Coming in at number 17 on the list is going to be Godseeker Anderi, certainly a very unique epic reviver out there in the game. I used to have her a bit higher on my list, and it's not a shot at Godseeker Anderi. There's just been a lot of great revivers released in the game. I feel like I'm talking smack about Godseeker Anderi. I'm absolutely not. She has the great A2 ability with the heal, with the decreased duration of buffs on enemies and increased duration of buffs on allies. Very, very good on Wixwell teams and just good in general. She got the revive with the reset cooldowns. Very unique ability until White Queen and Cora came into the game. And then she has the extra healing, the failsafe revive on death, preempting death on allies. Overall, just a very, very good support. A buff extender, reviver, healer extraordinaire at number 17. I'm actually putting at number 16 another healer, and it's Mr. Vogoth. I think that Vogoth is a fantastic champion. He's got a triple hitter on the A1. Each hit has a 40% chance of increasing the duration of one random debuff on the target by 1 turn. Really nice, sneaky addition to a very good kit, but we don't think that much about that a part of the ability. I like that. You're building him with accuracy anyway, because my man has a really nice AoE provoke. It's a 75% provoke on his A2, which is really good, right? Also has a 70% chance to place a decreased attack on targets who receive that provoke. So great controller for wave content as well. But of course, what he's known for is the Festering Dynamo. Whenever this champion is attacked, heals all allies by 50% of the damage received. He also has, when attacked, place a leech on the attacker for 2 turns. If the attacker's under a provoke placed by this champion, 100% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill on the attacker by 2 turns. Again, I think most of you probably know about this, but man, this makes him just an insanely good arena champion, wave champion, control champion with the provoke and the cooldown combination there, and one of the better healers. I almost feel like he should be higher on the list, but coming in at number 15 on the list is going to be the other best epic reviver. I've said this before and I stand by it. You can make a case that Ursula the Mourner is the best, not the best reviver in the game, but has the best revive in the game. This is very good, this Requiem ability here. It's a 5-turn cooldown, revives all dead allies with 75% HP, turn meter fill by 50, increase defense big version, strengthen big version for a 3-turn duration. So when she revives you, you're not going anywhere. The big part of an AoE revive is great. Yes, AoE revive, fantastic. Everybody's back on their feet. However, a lot of revives out there, they leave them like barely alive and they just die because they don't have enough turn meter to, get the healers in there. Not with Ursula the Mourner. Very, very, very good revive. She's got the decrease attack and the increase attack on the A2. You put that all together, you have a great reviver, you have a great buffer and debuffer, and you can use this ability. It's not in the text, but you can use this ability just as a buff. You don't have to have anybody dead to use a Requiem ability. So very, very good champion. No doubt about it. Number 14 on the list, we have my favorite single target damage dealer out of every epic in the game. It's going to be Whisper. Whisper is just built different, man.
Same, but different. But still sick.
She's got all these extra turn mechanics. She's got the ignore defense ability. I mean, we'll ignore 100%. It should say 100% just to make it more emphatic there on the A2 of the target's defense if they're under a weakened debuff. That makes Charge Assault on a 3-turn cooldown one of the hardest hitting epic abilities in the game, maybe the hardest hitting, along with Inquisitor Shamil's single target on his A2. Unyielding Fury places an extra hit if the target's under a decreased defense and weaken on a 4-turn cooldown. Again, a very hard hitting ability. You put that all together with the Unrelenting passive, 10% chance of granting extra turn whenever this champion lands a critical hit. Increased damage inflicted on bosses by 20%. She can deal some absurd damage against Hydra, especially after the Hex buff about a year ago or year and a half ago now. Getting that 10% extra damage to the enemies under Hex really benefited her because she deals so much single target damage. Number 13 on the list is going to be none other than Dtha. Dtha. She just sets the standard when it comes to a block damage on a 3-turn cooldown. She brings that block damage on a 3-turn cooldown with the continuous heal as well for 2 turns. You add that to another heal on the A2 with the increased duration of all buffs by 1 turn and defense in all battles by 20%. A very good healer, support, block damage champion. Great in a lot of areas, whether it's a Speed Tune Clan Boss team for block damage or an Iron Twins team for that matter, or just in general, she's gonna be one of the best you could find, right? She really power crept a lot of even legendary champions. Number 12 on the list is gonna be another old school champion, like an original OG when the game was released, and it's Maelia Mage. I know some people don't put him very high on their list. I don't understand why, frankly. He's got the decreased speed on the A1, 50% chance at landing it. That's really good. Decreased speed, one of my favorite debuffs in the game. You don't leave home without it.
We usually don't pick up hitchhikers, but I'm gonna go with my instinct on this one.
Any area in the game, I'm bringing decreased speed. He's got increased crit rate, increased defense, and block debuffs, all on a 3-turn cooldown. Block debuffs for 1, increased defense, big version for 2. I mean, it's hard to find in, a block debuffs champion, but he has all 3 on a 3-turn cooldown. For a long time, he's kind of relegated just being used as a seer activator, but he's well beyond that now. He also has the Winds of Purging, and this is what really vaults him up into, number 12 on the list here. A full cleanse, a heal, and a turn meter fill. Everything gets better depending on the number of debuffs removed from all allies. So just one of the best cleansers, supports out there in the game with the decreased speed. Am I crazy for still loving Maelia Mage this much? Number 11 on the list is probably going to shock some of you guys, but I stand by it. Frenzy the Cackler. Man, Frenzy's insane. I think she's just one of the most insane epics out there that not a lot of people talk about because she's hard to get. She's a void. There's no mechanism to get her out there. It's not like she's a Doom Tower champion or anything like that, right? But if you do get her, she's really good. increased defense in dungeons by 30%. On her A1, she has instant activation of HP burns. She's a defense-based champion, so she's nice and tanky. She has a triple hitter where she's placing a burn on a 3-turn cooldown. She fills her turn meter for each HP burn debuff placed by this skill, if I can speak. And then on the A3, oh, this is where it all comes together. She's a defense-based champion that has good multipliers. She's bringing her own increased defense, and she's placing an AoE 100% provoke as well, 4-turn cooldown here. So she's a provoker, she's a burner, she's a burn activator, she has turn meter fill, and then increase her defense by 2% each time a burn debuff is activated on enemies. So she has a defense escalator as well. Burn is essential for so many areas of this game, and she's my favorite. She brings so much to the table with that control, with the burn. Whether you need her just as a wave control champion, she's got you covered. Whether you need some damage, she's got you covered. Whether you need a burn placer for Frostbiter, for Ice Golem, whatever, she's got you covered. And then she got the burn activation on top of all of that, right? I really love Frenzy. Number 10, we've made it to the top 10, guys. Here we go. Number 10 on the list. What better way to kick it into the top 10 with Morag Bronzelock. Oof. My favorite, second favorite ally attacker. Foreshadowing to higher on the list here. She has an ally attack and raider captain. It's a 2 random allies, but ally attack has become more and more powerful every month, every year that passes in this game. A1s in this game are starting to get busted. It used to be that an A1 in this game, when ally attack started to be a thing with like Lanicus the Chosen and whatnot, it used to be that A1s were just like normally, you know, hit one enemy. If you're lucky, has a chance of placing decreased defense. Now A1s are doing absurd things. We've Frenzy, we're activating burns, for example, right? So every ally attacker, every year that goes by in this game, just inherently gets better, you know, indirectly through buffs to A1s being released in the game. So she's got the ally attack. She's got the AoE with a big version of Strengthen, still the only epic champion in the game that has an AoE Strengthen on a 3-turn cooldown big version, right? So she's bringing that to the table. She's bringing a lot of damage to the table. She's ignoring shields with her A1. She's one of the best defense-based damage dealers out there for any epic in the game. And then she's counterattacking when hit while under a strengthen buff placed by this champion. Counterattacks when hit when under her own strengthen. Man, that's a lot of damage. It's a lot of a great damage mitigation, on all allies, and then the ally attack. Very good. Number 9 on the list is going to be good old Mistrider Dtha. Mistrider Dtha, man, this guy is next level. He's not my favorite decreased defense champion, but he's top 10, so that says a lot, especially about a decreased defense champion that has it on a 4-turn cooldown. But the cooldowns, well, they don't really matter that much on Mistrider Dtha because my man is an extra turn machine, and he's a great damage dealer. He brings his own buffs, increased accuracy and increased attack. 3-turn duration with that extra turn. Ooh, extra turns, I love them. And then an AoE decreased defense. Grants an extra turn if the decreased defense is placed on all enemies by this skill. And then he has a 50% chance of removing a buff from the target. Another 10% chance of granting an extra turn on the A1. You can get the 10%, or excuse me, you can get the 50% up another 10% as well. You put that all together with the accuracy in all battles by 40. Oh, amazing. Really saw a lot of extra value too when Centranos was released. If you're looking for an amazing upgrade to like a War Maiden or, you know, most decreased defense champions out there, look no further than Mistrider Dtha for a lot of damage. You're able to build him a little bit, you know, nukier. More emphasis on damage dealer because of the increased accuracy that he brings as well. Very good champion. Coming up in at number 8 on the list is going to be good old Fatman. Farrakhan the Fat. I don't know. I'm like looking at the rest of my list right now, and I'm thinking to myself, man, maybe Fatman deserves to be even higher on the list. He is the best ally attacker out of every epic out there in the game. With all apologies to Morag, he's just bringing all allies except this champion on an ally attack. So whether it's a blender, whether it's Griffin, whether it's any boss in the game, he's going to be their best option for ally attack. He has the body block, deflecting a little bit of damage because he is a bit squishy. My favorite thing about him, though, he has a decreased defense on his A1, which is nice, but it brings the burn. I mean, the best ally attacker, but then you bring the burn and 2 poisons as well. It can be difficult to find HP burn champions out there, and Fatman, I mean, he has the burn and the poison too. Brings a lot to the table, right? Love him for Fire Knight, love him basically anywhere out there in the game. Coming in at number 7 on the list is going to be another oldie, but a goodie, and it's Royal Guard. Royal Guard at number 7, man, he's the best enemy max HP champion for my money out of every epic out there in the game.
That isn't my money. That's no money. That isn't my money.
As I mentioned, a little bit more damage out of his takedown ability on the AoE, obviously, than a Husk. And then he has this great A3 ability. First of all, he brings the decreased defense on his A1 too, very nice. But this ability, a 4-time at random against bosses, is insane. Each hit has a 60, make it a 75% chance to place the big version of decreased speed. Each hit also has a 75% chance, each hit, of decreasing the target's turn meter by 25%. I mean, you can add it up. If you get lucky, you get a 100% turn meter decrease here with the decreased speed. That's so freaking good. And then you add the hardest hitting enemy max HP ability to that anyway. Oh my word. Yeah, Royal Guard, he could probably deserve to be even higher. But at number 6, you might call me crazy. You may be right, I may be crazy, but it just might be a lunatic you're looking for. As the great Billy Joel has said, we have none other than Tagore. I love Tagore. I'm a card-carrying president of the Tagore fan club. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Take a seat. Gather around and hear the magic of Tagore. My man has an increased defense, big version on the ally with lowest current HP. Current HP. He can spread the wealth. It's beautiful. Whoever needs the damage mitigation the most, he's got you covered. He's also got an AoE attack. His attack scales kind of like a Mighty Ukko, like a decent kind of ish damage from a reviver on a support champion. He's got an increased speed, big version on all allies on a 3-turn cooldown. Ooh, that's great. Okay, that's an essential buff. And then he's gonna heal 15% of his max HP. So you just stack a lot of HP on Tagore, and he can be a healer, he can be an increased speed champion, and he can bring an increased defense to the table as well. But he's also got an AoE revive. Granted, 30% HP, but it's an AoE revive nonetheless. He has a shield on all allies, 2 turns, 20% of this champion's max HP. So it's not just dead allies, it's all allies. Again, you can build them with, 100k HP if you can get there. That's a 20k shield that's going to keep them alive long enough for him to come in with a great heal on that A2 and pick him back up right back in the fight. Moreover, you can use this ability if there's no dead allies, just to have a great shield. You can use this similar to Ursula the Mourner. You can use this ability even if nobody's dead. But it doesn't stop there. We got HP in all battles by 25% and decrease the damage received by allies with 50% HP or less by 10%. So we have almost like a weak strengthen just built in on whoever needs it the most on his passive. Finding damage mitigation on a passive from an epic champion is very rare in this game. Not that many champions that have it. He has a lot of support, of, a little bit of damage, the essential buff with the increased speed, and the big heal, and the big shield, everything out of one champion. The reason I have him so high, number 6 on the list, is because frankly, I think Tagore can be 2 champions in 1 slot on most teams. And that just gives you such a giant luxury to bring in that flex control, that flex extra damage dealer or debuffer that otherwise you wouldn't have room for. So that's why I love me some Tagore. We've made it to the top 5, guys. Number 5 on our list is gonna be, call me crazy again, but I love Stag Knight and I'm putting my money where my mouth is. He's just the best. He's got such a simplistic kit, but such an effective kit. He's got the lead the pack pinpoint. Why do I call it pinpoint? I have no idea. Okay, pinpoint accurate. What? I'm going for the mastery here. Place an increased accuracy on an ally 1 turn, big version obviously, each time the ally has a debuff resisted by an enemy. I want to focus on this part of his kit because it's really the unsung part of his kit, right? We know the rest of it. The big version increased accuracy with no cooldown. It just happens anytime we get a resist on an enemy. That's really, really good. You wouldn't think necessarily, but so many teams out there, even I've been guilty of it, right? You just don't even recognize it half the time. You're like, it's hard to pick up on resists as they happen, right? As long as the run is successful, you don't often pick up on it. And obviously accuracy is so fundamental in this game. Even decreased turn meter, you know, even on a newt or something like that, you need the accuracy. So this is a very, very good passive. He also brings an AoE decreased defense and decreased attack on a 3-turn cooldown, similar to Dtha Pierced, right? But he's so tanky. 21k HP makes him a very, very robust champion. And look at that base speed, 107. Ooh, you love to see it. Now, if he just had this, I'd probably rank him, you know, top 15 or something. But man, to my guy to be an incredibly dependable, decreased speed on the A1, attack 1 enemy 2 times, each hit has a 50% chance of placing the big version of decreased speed when booked. I mean, now he's got the decreased speed and the decreased attack and the decreased defense, and he's fast, and he's tanky, and he has the increased accuracy.
It's so amazing.
Yeah, I love Stag Knight. I love that champion. All right, number 4 on the list, guys. No big surprises here. Number 4 is going to be Seer. Seer's tough to rank. She could be number 1 if this list was champions who save you the most time in Raid Shadow Legends. The reason I have her at number 4 is because outside of being a wave clearer, she can be good and serviceable in many areas. I mean, removing all buffs and sleeping enemies is not a bad ability to have, right? Just in general. But she's most effective when you're loading your team up with buffs and you're trying to speed clear content, wave content in the game. So again, she's so unique. She's better than almost anything out there in the game, but there are other options out there as well. Back when Seer was released, I mean, there was a lot of talk about like really nerfing her into the ground by Plarium. Those days are long behind us, knock on wood. But there was not many options out there other than Seer to wave clear. Now there's a lot of options for poison combust teams as well. And then there's just like OP mythicals like Siegfried who can just solo everything, you know, wave content with his Rage of Nephilim. So, you know, maybe more options out there. Maybe the fact that, you know, you're not going to use her against like all the newest bosses and Chimera and stuff like that. But she's still one of the best champions, most unique champions, one of the most powerful time savers in all of Raid with the Karma Burn. Number 4. Number 3 on our list is going to be good old Deacon Armstrong. Deke! I love Deacon Armstrong, man. I mean, again, a fairly simplistic kid, but the synergy is beautiful. You know, they really did a great job on him. The leech on the A1, the extra turn ability, we all know how important that is. I mean, I've repeated it 10 times in this video. But the extra turn with the turn meter fill and the decreased turn meter of all enemies, great control here. You're able to get back to this ability even faster for more turn meter fill. When you got the heals with the leech, and then you got the decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. The reason his kit's so good, again, is that extra turn and the turn meter fill. I mean, everything, right? But that extra turn makes him an absolute motor for your teams that just keeps going and going and going. It allows him to keep the decreased defense up with 100% uptime. Moreover, you're just constantly filling turn meter and depleting turn meter at the same time. He also brings speed in all battles by 19%, so you can use him as a speed or a lead in all the new areas that don't have auras yet. Deacon Armstrong at number 3. At number 2, some things don't change, guys. At number 2, it's Geomancer. Geomancer, the second best epic in the game. He does so many things and he does them very well. I've run him in a stun set in a pinch in some areas. That's not his first use case, but he does have an AoE on his A1 with a decreased accuracy. It can be hard to find decreased accuracy, right? He's a decent little, trial champion, sneaky as well. He has a remove all buffs on his A2, steals them if they're under a burn. Very nice ability here. Reduces the cooldown of the A3 if the target's killed by this skill. On the A3, he has full turn meter depletion, fills his turn meter by the amount the target loses on a 3-turn cooldown, just like Man-Eater's A2. And then he has 100% burn and 100% big version of weaken on a 3-turn duration on a 3-turn cooldown, 100% uptime, which is great because it synergizes with one of the most broken damage dealing passives in the game, broken in a very good way. The reflect damage makes him the boss killer when we talk about epic champions in the game. Whether you're talking about a clan boss, whether you're talking about a normal boss, Doom Tower boss, dungeon boss, he's the boss killer. He's Geomancer. Reflecting all that damage is amazing. Again, from Nether Spider to regular Spider, he's got you covered. Killing boss, there's a lot of wave killers out there, but killing bosses from a burner, so incredibly valuable, and that's testament to him being number 2 on the list. So if Geo's number 2, then who's number 1? Maybe we'll do a couple shoutouts. I mean, probably a lot of shoutouts. No one talks about her, no one does, but I'm actually a big fan of Ayala Lifebraid. She brings block debuffs on for a 2-turn duration with a nice heal, instant turn ability. I think she's really slept on. White Dryad Naya is very good. Ruella's good. Cryodin, criminal that he's not on the list. Criminal. Probably belongs there somewhere. Taragi the frog, very, very good. Aboro, insanely good. As I said, there's going to be a lot of stuff. I'm not going to go through, you know what? I could be here all day going through every faction. But you know what? I called out a few of the big ones right there. But number 1 on the list is, to me, kind of by far and away, is Ugo. Yeah, Ugo's still number 1 for me, guys. I mean, she's a champion that I find myself using in a lot of situations. And let's just be real. I mean, I have a dozen mythicals. I'm a little bit spendy on this game, right? And I've been playing for a long time, 5 years. But I'm still using Ugo because she brings just this very unique kit of combination of support and essential debuffs. To have the 3-turn cooldown with the block buffs and the decreased defense, it's just so valuable. Block buffs is so essential in so many areas, even more so than when she was introduced to the game. So she's really a champion that went from like a really good champion when she was released to even better the more content that comes out. Specifically Hydra with the block buffs. She has the Leech, which is so good as well. And then she has the Cleanse. She's cleansing a random debuff from all allies and heal reduction. Heal reduction is important too because it's clearing the table for the great heal that she has. 20% of this champion's max HP. Sometimes I look at other people's Ugo builds and I don't think they build her with enough HP. Build her all out HP and accuracy, right? Take advantage of that really nice heal. 20% of her max HP at 20k. It's weird, like psychologically, if her base HP was 350 higher, I feel like most players would get it. They'd be like, oh yeah, I need to scale that up. But for whatever reason, the 19k, it's just like, scale up her HP, take advantage of that heal and the cleanse. She has that like kind of niche revival. I've always called it like the solar eclipse of revival, right? It's hard to be, it's far from dependable, but when it happens, you're like, oh my God, Ugo revived. I saw it, it happened. Did it ever happen to any of you guys? You ever see an Ugo revival? Where were you when you saw your first Ugo revival? She's got that increased speed to block damage if she's the last living ally. But really, it's just the decreased defense, the block buffs, the leech, the cleanse, and the great heal. All in one champion. You can really truly fill almost 3 roles of your team in your cleanser, healer, your block buffs, and your decreased defense champion with the leech as well. All from one champion. To me, they broke the mold with good old Ugo. There it is, guys. That's my top 40 champions heading into 2025. Who did I snub? Let me have it in the comments below. Who do you agree with? Who do you disagree with? Can't wait to read the comments on this one. Thanks for watching all the way till the end. And as always, take care, guys.